Welcome back, you no good bastards, to the Pod Deep Podcast. Be very quiet. Kick back. Listen up. Subscribe, comment, and like. Pod Deep Podcast. Pod Deep.
Welcome back to episode 28 of the Pod Deep Podcast. You got Sid, Rod, Hughes, J-Rock, and myself, Ant. Like, subscribe, share if you like what you're seeing. We're going to start off with the deep thought question. Go ahead, Sid.
All right, boys. Deep thought question of the week. You find out your wife or significant other has an OnlyFans page, but it's an OnlyFans page of her feet. It makes about $35,000 a year, and the key is it's not anonymous, so everybody knows it's her. You cool with that, or you making her take it down? Repeat it. You find out your wife or significant other has a OnlyFans page of her feet, making about $35K a year. It's not anonymous, so everybody knows it's her. You cool with it, or you making her take it down? We're gonna start off. Squeak, what you thinking?
Hey, before you answer, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
What is OnlyFans?
So OnlyFans is a online site of people who just do things for money. People subscribe, and you have subscriptions, and people pay money to see things. A lot of pornographic stuff can be on OnlyFans. A lot of just people, personalities have pages, and people subscribe, so they do things live for them.
Okay.
Removing my ego out of the situation, I think my initial reaction is I'd be upset a little bit. But once I do my due diligence and come to the realization that she's only, showing her feet and not her face and her body and stuff like that, and she is generating money, and there's a foot fetish, and she's, satisfying that need and stuff like that, I don't think I have an issue, but I will be asking for a percentage.
So you cool with it? You let it rock?
I'm cool with it.
All right. And what you thinking about that, man?
Honestly, I can't indulge in just the conversation and everything that I'm opening my wife up to. That OnlyFans got to go. That $35,000 ain't enough for me to be compromising everything over there. Not saying that my wife would do it, but you just letting all these different perverts talk to my wife. Nah, I can't deal with it.
So you making her take it down?
Yes.
All right. Jared, what'd you say, man?
You probably I go with Hughes. I would probably be upset, but I think you have to let it go. You have to monitor it, make sure it's not going to like DM and these creeps over the internet. But I think you have to let it go and take your cut.
But motherfuckers gonna take it to the next level with messages and all that stuff.
That's why I know I can't deal with it.
All right, what you think?
So she did this. She hid it from me.
Yeah, you find out about it.
I guess that would be my
initial opposition. I mean, my initial problem would be like, why did you hold it from me? I mean, shit, we could have had a discussion about this and she could have got the blessings to be, hey, show your feet, get that 35K. We could have had that talk. So I probably would be a little perturbed about that. But after getting over that, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool with it, no problem. Y'all talk about DMs and all that, perverts. Shit, nigga, that can happen on Facebook. That can happen on Instagram, anywhere else.
I was just about to say that.
When your woman walk out that door, shit, everybody trying to holler. She getting advances all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But I'm not going to open the platform door for it.
You didn't open the door, Aunt. She did it on her own. You didn't open the door. You didn't force her to do that.
Well, that's why it's coming down.
So,
well, you said I'm not
all for it. She can have the OnlyFans, and we'll rock on.
With me, hell no. We ain't doing no motherfucking feet fetish. Oh, OnlyFans. So it's not. So it ain't anonymous. First of all, let me back up. No. We ain't doing that shit. You taking that shit down. My watch. It ain't happening on my watch.
Well, not over there.
But then for the group, it ain't anonymous. I think you, like Ant said, I think you welcoming people to, talk crazy. And I heard you, right? You can be out anywhere and a motherfucker approach you and act crazy. But I do agree with Ant. You giving them a platform for the creeps to come out at night. You know what I'm saying? Freaks to come out at night. So hell no. We taking that shit down. I'm taking the computer away from them.
And then too, when you're going through a rocky period, she can't be on OnlyFans, then she'll be chirping. You just leaving a platform. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Good times or bad times.
The real ego crush is when you found out how long she's been doing it. Mm-hmm. That's the real ego crush. That this didn't just happen last week. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this for 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying? And and it's how you find out. Somebody, DM you. Is this your people?
Right. Riding on OnlyFans, and he tell me, hey, these Sam feet on his phone. You know what I'm saying? That'd be wild. That'd be crazy, man.
Yeah, like your ego, you cannot suppress your ego in that situation. Because your mind is everywhere. The DMs, who's seen it, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna really take that to as if she's stripping. You know what I'm saying?
And after all that, you still cool with her having it?
Nah, you're not. But at the end of the day, when you do your due diligence and you get in that private conversation of why you did it, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I didn't know how to make any side money. I didn't want to, pick up another 9 to 5 or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? When you seeing this down that line, that kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
what about instead of that amount, it was $5,000 a year? You still good?
Shit, 12 months, 5,000. That ain't worth it. Yeah, that ain't worth it. That ain't worth it.
So hold on, the 35. What's that about? What's that? 15 a year?
But you could probably pay something. You could probably pay something with that. You can knock a couple of bills off, a little credit card, a little shopping habit, whatever she got. You know what I'm saying? But I know $50, no $100 a month. You know what I'm saying? And your face is out there. Anybody can. Your church members, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews. They all see this. You know what I'm saying? So, nah.
So I guess it's 35. I guess y'all saying 35 is enough to for that ridicule from a church member or from whatever.
It's a pat on the back, but the whole thing is that, like, why you do this without talking to me? You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
All right, man. Deep question of the week.
All right, that was a good one. Way to get it started off. Next, we're gonna go into sports for the last week. We had a busy week this last week. We had college football championship, Georgia and TCU, and then we had some boxing. We're gonna start off with the college football. Do y'all think Georgia has taken the crown from Alabama as the best college football team in the nation, like year in and year out? I'll start off with Rodney.
No. It's 2 years.
Nah,
It's
Bit more
2
than that.
years. It's 2 years. Alabama has a decade plus. So
They've been in the running all of those years too. It's not like they just came out of nowhere. Two, they won.
they've won 2 championships. So I don't care about in the running. So you have to win consistently. Alabama does that. They not only in the running, but they win it.
Yeah.
and it's a shock when they don't. Like if they don't make it to the college football playoff, people are like, damn, Alabama ain't in it. So until they gotta stretch this thing out for 5 or 6 more years of being in the running and being in the running a couple years and then come back and win a couple more. So
Okay.
in my mind, Alabama is still the preeminent powerhouse in the SEC and in college football until somebody take it away from them. Georgia trying to, but they ain't made it yet.
Gotcha. Kids,
Plus, my bad. So basically, Georgia is Clemson. Remember, Clemson had a nice little run where they made a champion. They made it to the championship, lost, came back and won. But now we're Clemson at.
Right, I got you.
So Georgia's Clemson right now.
So you're saying 5 more years, 2 more championships for them to even be thinking about it?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Hughes, what you got?
Yeah, I agree. If you're a high school football player and Alabama didn't recruit you and you feeling salty about it, Georgia is a nice runner up. They're not there yet, but they knocking on the door. You know what I'm saying? They need a little bit of time. The NFL scouts are looking at their program. You know what I'm saying? They putting players in the NFL. They got a good thing going. They just got to keep it consistent and keep on doing it. You know what I'm saying? And right as they make that knock on that door, you got another program that's right around the corner that's doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But their name is out there. They had 2 good years. You know what I'm saying? And they still knocking, but they're not there yet though.
Okay, Jared, what you got?
You're on mute, Jared.
You're on mute.
You gotta let me pass on this one. I'm really not into college football. I like Notre Dame. That's about it.
That's an answer.
I ain't mad at you about the Notre Dame. Say it. What you think?
Boy, that's a tough one, man, because Alabama it's just so much, man. They've been doing it for so long. So no, they can't replace Alabama, but you got to give them credit for being, back-to-back champions. That's hard. Plus, that NFL pipeline is getting thick from Georgia. Mm-hmm. They're recruiting at a crazy level and they're replacing people at a crazy level. Something like 14 players got drafted. Then they reloaded, retooled, all them first-round defenders. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're definitely a powerhouse, but man, with Alabama, Alabama just nuts. So that was a good comp Rodney made with Clemson because Clemson had a nice little run as well, where they won a couple championships. Did they win 2 or they went to 2? They won 2, didn't they?
I think they did.
They won 2.
Well,
they won 2.
Clemson won 2
yeah.
in this Alabama reign, and we don't talk about them no more.
Right.
So they got to do it more. They got to do it a little bit more often. But Alabama is the cream of the crop, man. Cream of the crop. So,
but where did Georgia coach come from? Where did he cut his teeth at?
From Alabama, absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing I will play devil advocate is Georgia is beating Alabama. So not only are they kind of like doing what they do, they beat the big dog. I don't know if Clemson beat Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah, they beat.
I thought they beat I thought they beat. Oh yeah, let me think. They did get them one time, but
They beat Alabama.
they are beating Alabama in their own conference. So that was a little difference. They even took the conference from them for about 3 or 4 years. Alabama squeaked in.
They didn't take it. They didn't take it. They haven't taken the conference from them. This is their first. They won the SEC championship this year, but they didn't win it last year, right? Right, because Alabama beat them. Alabama beat them in the SEC championship.
And then
Also, Georgia would not have beaten Alabama if Jamison Williams don't get hurt.
That's a fact.
And John Mechie don't get hurt. I mean, I know injuries are part of the game, but they lost their top 2 targets. Well, they lost Mechie the game prior, and then Jamison was cooking them. He was cooking them, and then he tore his, and that's when the game changed.
I'll give you that. So I got a question. I'm gonna add a little twist to it. Is there a team closer to cementing them than Georgia, like Ohio State? Because they've been in it for about a decade. They in it every year.
But they don't be winning.
Yeah, they last championship was what, 11? 2000, was it 2011 last time Ohio State won?
Yeah.
No, 16,
11 to 12.
15.
It was 15? Okay.
With Zeke.
Okay. All right.
I thought it wasn't when Jamison left and went to Alabama.
No, Ohio State. Ohio State last probably won with Zeke. I forgot about Zeke. I was thinking Morris Claret. But it was Zeke that won. Yeah. Zeke got one.
Yeah.
So is there any other team other than Georgia that can take it from Alabama, or is Georgia or nobody right now?
Man,
there's a couple of teams that are good, but when you're talking like a program where you lose 14 and bounce back, it ain't that many programs. A lot of programs would have suffered in that kind of situation. They were able to bounce back. That's rare. That's rare. Like your backups are you know what I'm saying, top tier, top tier recruits. So that says a lot about their recruiting process. You know what I'm saying? The guys that they got started and the guys that they got waiting in the wings, But
what you're explaining is Alabama.
That's exactly what it is.
That's the template. Yeah. That's the template. Like Alabama, like how many, like with the running backs?
Yeah.
Like everybody may not make it into the league or produce, but they just bring another long, big dread head running back in every year.
And I like the fact that they allow the players to transfer and not sit out a whole year like they used to in the 90s. I think that's more fair to the athletes, that if you don't like that particular program, you initially started out, when you transfer, you beat out the person, you on the field. You know what I'm saying? I really like that part about the college level. Well,
what I can say, I think Alabama did it during a tougher time, because they did it when it was only 2 teams that can make. You had to be 1 or 2. Right. So they now they got 4, so you get a chance to slide in. But I also think you got to do it with different quarterbacks, different classes. And Alabama did. If you can go through 3 different quarterbacks and still win with 3 different quarterbacks, then I believe you're in the Alabama level at that point. If you can do 3 quarterbacks in a row, win a national title. Yeah. But that's just my thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, the 4 teams in a new playoff race, what y'all think about TCU? Man,
they load.
Now, so are y'all a proponent of, should they let like a smaller team get in to play these big boys? Did they really deserve it? I guess is what I'm asking. Did they really deserve it?
Just like it was about last week, the game that they upset and the team that they knocked off. So for that reason, it brings more excitement. to the game. But in the end of the day, the big dogs is going to win. The better teams is going to win at the end of the day. But I would like the tournament to be, that's what make March Madness good, the upsets.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know.
But it just wasn't a good game. It just wasn't a competitive game, man. It wasn't close.
Yeah, they were overmatched, but see, that's when you're the head coach and you go to your athletic director and you look him right in his damn eye. He's like, see, I was telling your ass that we need better recruits. You know what I'm saying? That's when everybody stand up for the program and see there's levels to this and how they recruit and what they need to do for their recruitment process and stuff like that to put forth the effort to compete with the big boys. You may think you have a big boy program because you got a $10 million stadium, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't, that ain't gonna win you no game.
I mean, y'all talking like it's Boise State. Like that's a Power 5 conference team. You know, it's not a
Big 12, ain't it?
Huh?
Ain't that from the Big 12?
Yeah, it's from the Big 12.
That's a Power 5.
That's a Power 5. So, and it's only gonna get worse because it's gonna be 12 teams in a couple years.
I think a 12-team tournament is a little better. I mean, because I think it'll weed out who won't supposed to be there. Because I can't remember, but I thought TCU. I don't know where they one loss came from, but I thought it was late in the season. And I know they had a couple of big wins, but Alabama, if they were to replace TCU, I think we would have had a way better, because Alabama had 2 losses. Both of their losses was by 7 points. Both of them was on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them was the ranked teams.
They lost at the buzzer. They lost at the buzzer on both of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So Alabama, while their record was worse, they played there was 2 ranked teams. They lost on the road at the end of the game. So they should have actually, I think they should have actually been in that TCU spot, personally.
Yeah.
The problem is they didn't play a championship game. They didn't even get to their own conference championship.
Right.
Who, TCU?
No, Alabama.
Okay, I got it.
The problem is they were in Georgia's conference.
But the thing is, nowhere does it specify that you have to be a conference champion to be in the college football playoff.
True.
No, I'm just saying that's what hurt them. 2 losses.
It's the 2 best teams. It's the 4 best teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama was the best team. I think Alabama actually was starting to play better, leading up to the end of the season. I just don't think this is going to be like, you can't mimic March Madness with football. Like, yeah, you can see in college basketball where, if you got one player that gets hot and he can, he go lights out, he can carry that team, to 2 or 3 wins and maybe make it to the Final Four. You're not going to see that in football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the bigger, stronger, faster team is going to win 99 out of 100.
I agree.
And is it really worth seeing a number 12 team with 3 losses? Is it really worth seeing them in the college football playoff?
So
I don't think it is.
How many? What's your number then, Rodney?
4.
You like it at 4?
Yeah. 4. Or 5, and that number 1 seed got to bye. That way, you got all 5 power conferences. Like, in theory, you can have all 5, conference champions, in it. But I'm cool with 4 for real.
To me, we wouldn't even be having this conversation if Michigan would have just handled their business. And they lost against TCU. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a game that I thought TCU would win on paper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure Vegas took a hit with all the sports betting on that particular game. You know what I'm saying? TCU was not a favorite. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't have won that game. But I know Michigan kind of blew it towards the end, but I think this is why you have that kind of situation, because you cannot win on paper. You have to get out there. Either you bigger, you stronger. Your coach has to still make smart decisions, because if you all are up and he pull the starters, and they come back on your ass, so you still have that momentum. So I think it's fair. You just have to, coaches have to play it out, you know. I think,
by the way, this dominant Georgia team, in theory, should have lost. Ohio State had them beat.
Yeah.
Ohio State had them beat.
Yeah. But that's football though. That's
football.
I know. That's football.
Yeah.
But I can't put this Georgia team up there with Alabama just yet.
Oh, okay. Good point. Good point.
I gotcha. Well, I do think that the bigger playoff is to me, last weekend was the best you're going to get. 2 great games down to the wire. This weekend, I'm not worried. I'm not sacrificing last weekend just for a better national champion. I like the weekend in a good game.
I was rooting for the underdog, you know, but shit, it was clear first quarter the motherfuckers ain't have a chance. But hey, I was rooting for them. Show me some shit.
So I'm just looking at the top 25. So you got, the top 12. So you would have had USC, Florida State, Utah, Tulane, Washington, Penn State, Tennessee. Like none of them teams is
you had
like Utah got 4 losses. So now we're talking about having a 4-loss team with an opportunity to play for the championship.
What did they make what is it going to? 8 teams next year?
12, I thought you said.
It's eventually going to 12.
Okay.
That's too many.
Gonna be good too.
I just think they're trying to replace all the irrelevant bowls with games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's why I think they're doing 12, and that's a lot more games. But
viewership and more money. You're gonna get more viewership and more money.
That's what it's all about. More
That's
money.
exactly what it's about.
It ain't got nothing to do because you don't need to see Utah and Tulane playing for a chance to win a championship. You don't need to see that.
No.
Here's the question. Like the receiver from Ohio State, he opted out playing to get ready for the draft. Think about that in the 12-team tournament. He opted out 3 games. Like, I'm headed to the pros. Why am I playing 3 more games for free?
That's a great point. That's a great point. If I'm lining up, but if I'm, that's a great point because I don't think I'll be in. You tell me I got 2 games and I'm guaranteed to be a top pick and I got 2 games to get through. The less games, the better for everybody. But you're right. I would have pause.
But wait. Back up. What if you're a Heisman winner and you sit out?
They do that.
You're fine. You're trying to prepare yourself for the pros. So it don't make
that'll be frowned. I think that'll be frowned upon. Not to say it will hurt your chances, but
it is frowned upon. But talent gonna win every time. Like Jadeveon Clowney, he sat out almost at the end of his senior year, but he had so much talent. He still went second. So
and didn't pan out to be nothing like I thought.
Well, I promise you, more people are going to check out of it because for the athlete, they don't gain anything. They're not getting no money for this.
Nah, but everybody. Let's say you're a TCU top star and your team is what it is, just applying for the national championship. This is your opportunity for exposure if you have a great game. But unfortunately, none of them had a great game. But this is your opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So you can play it 2 ways. You could be that dude that's never had a lot of TV games, but this is your time right here where you could really sell yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get your name out on the map. So if you take the advice of an agent that can't even guarantee that you would get drafted, and you sit out, you will miss an opportunity. I believe
it's not the TCU people. It's going to be the Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia people. That's going to be like, why? Yeah. I'm already projected to be a top 5 pick. I can't do nothing but hurt myself by playing these games.
It's two sides. It's two sides to it. It's two sides. It's a side that says, oh, I can play against some big teams and show what I can do, get some good tape out there. And it's the other side. I can play against the worst competition and get some bad tape out there. So yeah, I think it swings both ways.
Man, if I'm a coach and we competing for a national championship, I ain't trying to hear my best player tell me something like that and he not injured.
Oh, they will.
I'm gonna drop a dime on you. All that money I put in your account, I would get your ass on that field.
Well,
I got receipts.
But you might see less of that, Ant, because of all the NIL money that goes around, because they are getting paid a little bit more now. But you wouldn't sacrifice that big check, though. I get it.
Yeah. So you think NIL can force them to go play? No, contract.
I don't think NIL can force them to play, but I'm saying since they're getting paid now versus it was nothing at first, right, and they would get this big check, they are getting some money, so they've seen a little money that may make them more, it could make them a little bit more likely to pay, because they ain't like what it used to be where you didn't have nothing and then you went into the big money. You've been kind of getting some money. So, but I think I would still, as a top level athlete, I would still probably have a little pause before I did it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I guess them decisions, to each his own, but that's a tough one.
Wasn't that Marvin Harrison's kid that set out?
I think, yeah.
He got hurt.
Oh, he got hurt? Okay.
I mean, the recent one, it didn't hurt him, but Jameson getting hurt in that game was like, man, you should have you was gonna be a top pick. He still ended up being a top pick, but he could have cost himself millions if he would have slid to the second, third round.
I think he needed to play that game, though. I think he needed to. It was basically redemption, from what happened with Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? To let the world know I'm the top receiver. I'm the best receiver in college football. So I got the biggest stage. Here I'm about to put myself on the map. So you sit that out and you get your guaranteed NFL debut, and the same thing happened in the NFL game. Now you're under contract, but still, you know what I'm saying? People see your talent if you get hurt like that. What was it? Todd Gurley, same situation for Georgia.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember. All right. We also had some boxing matches. I'm gonna throw that over to Jay. You can take lead on this. I don't know nothing about them people that was fighting.
All right. Gervonta Davis fought Hector Garcia in the PBC. Hey, Hughes, what weight class is that? Is that lightweight?
135.
What's the name of it? Lightweight?
That's lightweight.
Yeah,
lightweight. Okay. Fight ended in a stoppage between the 8th and 9th round. Gervonta Davis hit Garcia with a punch. The round ends. Garcia says to his corner and to the doctors that he can't see. The ref waves off the fight. It was a great fight night for me. Before we get to the conclusion, in the middle of round 8, a fight breaks out in the middle of the crowd. It's rumored to be Meek Mill fighting with what's the boxer? Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah, Gary Russell Jr.
Yep. And they stop the fight for a few minutes, clear out the arena. They restart the fight. Tank finishes the fight in between the 8th and 9th round. I think it was a tune-up fight for Tank on his way to fighting Ryan Garcia. But in terms of Tank's, how he came out looking, I think he looked great in his fight. I think it was a perfect tune-up fight, man. And on to the next. What do you think, Hughes?
That guy was not a tune-up. Garcia could fight his ass off. He had just recently beat Colbert, a guy from Brooklyn, New York, that was kind of calling Tank out, but he never signed a contract. Garcia's a tough guy. You can see that he can really punch. But what he ran into is Tank's movement and Tank's power, And so I thought it was a good night of fighting compared to the BOK event that happened December the 10th. Overall, I'm ready for this Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight. So it was a good fight. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight too. Tank, man, that boy got some power, man. He got some power. He starts slow. He seems like his matches kind of slow, kind of looking at with his opponents. He just slow with it, taking his time. Then he just so explosive, man. He started hitting that boy with some haymakers. So I thought it was a good fight. I think that Garcia Tank fight gonna be a good one.
I think so too.
Hector Garcia, 16-0. You know, I know he was a tough fighter. He beat a champion. He got a good upset to get that belt. But you don't consider him a tune-up fight?
Nah, he's tricky. He's a Dominican guy that's a good counter punch. You can see he was tagging Tank. You know what I'm saying? He got good power with him. His problem is that he stands there. I think he would be a good opponent for Shakur or a good opponent for Devin Haney, because I would like to see where their chin is at, because that guy hits hard. You know what I'm saying? He caught Tank a couple of times, but Tank hit him a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's like no dude. He really shouldn't have been the guy that Tank fought right before the big money fight with Ryan Garcia. You at least want to fight somebody that has like four defeats or something like that, you know. But he chose an undefeated guy to bring to his hometown, and that says a lot about him, you know, because that dude could have spoiled the party had he been tripping. You know, it's a lot of pressure to fight in front of your hometown fans and stuff like that.
Do you think Tank? You think he a technician as far as fighting? Because he kind of reminds me a little bit like Mike Tyson, where he just he's waiting on his big blow to come. I don't know if somebody went in there with a game plan on him, I think he might have some problem. What you think about that?
So I'm sorry. That's exactly what I said when I saw him fight like the last time. He seems real vulnerable, real emotional, you know, beatable to me. Go ahead, Hughes.
So the two guys that you seen him fight last were kind of bigger him in size and strong. So you have to look at a fight like he fought a Mexican dude named Isaac Cruz, little short guy, shorter than Tank. Tank hurt his hand in the fight. So he had the jab and just used pivotal movement. So he fights different from your typical boxer that uses a jab and controls the pace with his jab. What Tank does, he does a lot of pivotal movement, and he waits for you to make mistakes. So he can beat you and catch you going forward while he's moving forward, or he can catch you and knock you out while he's moving backwards. That's how deadly he is. And he explodes on you. So he can just squat down. You know, if you punch it down hard on him and you miss, he gonna make you pay. He's that kind of dude like that. And his power transfers from the first round all the way to the 12th round. He has power in both his hands. He don't really get tired like that. And he don't gas out like Mike Tyson used to do. If Mike Tyson couldn't really knock you out in the 7th round, then you know you really could coast on with Mike Tyson, get to a 12-round victory. With Tank, you have to be on your P's and Q's, because if he catch you standing in front of him and he drop it on you, remember your southpaw. He catch you standing in front of him, he'll knock your lights off. So he's a real tough dude. He's short and compact, you know. You could pass some points on him, you know what I'm saying? But overall, when he come for you, you better have enough power in your tank to survive it, dude.
Let's go back to the beginning of this conversation and talk about that shade you try to drop on Crawford with that BLK Prime comment. How do you compare this to their first pay-per-view?
Because it wasn't their first boxing match, their first pay-per-view. Okay, so when I compare Crawford, who's been fighting longer than Tank, and the type of opponent that he brought home to his fan base with a big matchup, Tank win all day. Tank had a better card. So even though that was BLK's first pay-per-view, that's on them if they put together a sloppy card of opponents for everybody. You know, Crawford had on the table a big money fight with Spence that didn't come through. So this opponent that you got from the UK, that wasn't a good quality opponent for your hometown fans. I mean, they was there. They're gonna support you on GP, but to sell that to the fans, that wasn't no good fight. That wasn't no good card. That's my personal opinion. When I compare the PBC card Man, they was hype up in that fight. Tank sold their place out. You know what I'm saying? He had all the stars out there, you know, movie stars, basketball, entertainer, rappers. You didn't see none of that at that BOK event. You didn't see no entertainers in that kind of environment in Omaha, Nebraska for Terrence Crawford because he didn't bring an opponent with him.
But Tank is a way bigger. Don't you think he's a way bigger star though than Crawford?
Here's the thing: not if you go on ESPN. Terrence Crawford is considered the number one pound for pound fighter.
No, we're talking about a draw. You know,
No.
marketing wise.
How can the number one pound for pound fighter not be a better draw?
I mean, they're two different things.
Wow.
You can be the best and not be able to sell tickets.
That makes no sense. The pound for pound fighter is supposed to be the biggest name in boxing. That's
Not necessarily.
Roy Jones. There's Pernell Whitaker. There's Floyd Mayweather, and there's Canelo. Those are your former pound per pound fighters. Now you add Terrence Crawford to the list, and nobody knows.
When you say pound for pound, you're talking about skill. You're not talking about sales.
Right.
We're talking about a guy that fought on ESPN for Top Rank, one of the best promotional companies in boxing.
Just because you're the best boxer don't mean you the biggest draw. Tyson is the biggest draw when he was fighting, even when he was losing.
Who was his promotion company?
It don't matter.
It matters.
He wanted to see Tyson, and he wasn't the best boxer at the tail end of his career. He wasn't the best boxer, but people would pay to see him more than the champion at the time.
So, at what point was he the best boxer? Early on in his career, middle of his career? What point was he the best boxer?
He never was.
Okay. He never was. He was just the most clear.
Right? He always was a draw, right?
Yep.
From New York. So he's from Catskills, New York. Fought all over the country. Fought all over the globe. Terrence Crawford from Omaha, Nebraska, and that's the only place where he fights. Fought for the number one promoter, which is Top Rank. They had him on ESPN. He started off on HBO, so he's been on network after network. He's on the recognizable list. Everybody in the industry, in the boxing industry, knows his name. So if he can't sell, that ain't no knock towards Gervonta, who just came in under a low-level promotional company by the name of Mayweather Promotions. And he's from Baltimore, and he sold out arenas in Brooklyn. He sold out arenas in Las Vegas. He sold out arenas in Atlanta, and he sold out in his hometown. So how is that even comparable? And he's not even ranked on the list.
He was your hate for Tank for Crawford runs so deep, man.
I'm spitting facts.
So deep.
I'm spitting facts.
It's all in you. You hate this man. He is not a pay-per-view draw.
I'm a boxing fan.
I'm gonna leave you with this, Hughes.
Okay.
Your talent doesn't mean you're a big draw. Tito Trinidad was the best boxer for a while, but he wasn't the biggest draw.
What?
He wasn't. Roy Jones was.
You kind of got that.
Roy Jones was the bigger draw.
No. Tito Trinidad had a whole nation behind him, Puerto Rico. Whenever he would fight in Puerto Rico, he would sell it out. Whenever Don King would bring him to New York and Madison Square Garden, they would sell it out. Before Mayweather did pay-per-views, Oscar and Tito had the number one. They had the number one pay-per-view buys.
Who was the bigger draw at the time, Tito or Roy Jones?
Tito.
Roy Jones, all his pay-per-view fights, you didn't even know the opponents.
But no. Who was the bigger draw between Oscar De La Hoya and Tito? Oscar De La Hoya. But Tito was the best boxer. Right? So Oscar De La Hoya. So
he was not the best boxer. He was the harder puncher between the two. He was not the best boxer. He was the harder.
You don't think Tito? You don't think for a time period, Tito was the best pound for pound boxer in fighting?
No.
Period.
That was your guy too, wasn't it? See,
that was my guy.
That's my guy too. But no,
I don't think he ever was.
For a period, I think for a 1 or 2.5 year period, he was the best.
He got that. He was anointed that once he got the
beat Oscar.
decision against De La Hoya,
Yeah.
which he really didn't do anything.
Yeah,
You know,
he got outboxed. But he wasn't speaking English, so they couldn't really market him like that.
But no, what I'm saying, I get that. He had a good draw, but he was considered the best fighter of point in time. But the biggest draw at that same time was Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah, Oscar was bigger than him.
So to Ant's point, you don't have to be the best fighter. And to Jay's point, the best fighter is not always the biggest draw. Oscar was the biggest draw.
So give me a scenario where the pound for pound best fighter was not the biggest draw.
I just did. Tito was not the biggest draw during that De La Hoya era.
Yeah,
he was the best fighter.
De La Hoya had 2 fights with Chavez. He had a fight with Pernell Whitaker. So Tito had only had, if I'm not mistaken, that could have been his first pay-per-view fight.
But Tito fought everybody. He was the best fighter and fought all comers for a period of time. He fought everybody that came. And he drew good. He drew good, but the mega fight was the De La Hoya fight because De La Hoya drew more. He had the biggest. I thought he had the biggest draw.
No, so Tito didn't clear out the welterweight division. De La Hoya did. So Tito never fought Ike Corte, the African. De La Hoya did. Tito never.
But would you agree that Tito was the better fighter?
He was the harder puncher. He was not.
You don't think he was a better fighter than De La Hoya?
Nah, he lost. He got outboxed. That's my boy. He got. He got outboxed. Okay. He was just a harder puncher between the two.
Only person that outboxed him was Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins got the game plan from De La Hoya.
Winky Wright.
I saw that fight recently. You're right about that, Ronnie.
He had that dude looking up at the ceiling the whole fight because he was jabbing his ass the whole fight. I'm poised to say Trinidad's overrated. I'm almost there. I'm almost there because
he was not overrated in his time. He wasn't overrated. But if you take
after that De La Hoya fight, what fight did he win again?
He won. So after he beat De La Hoya, he went up to fight Fernando Vargas, who was at 154. He took Fernando Vargas' title. I'm sorry. He fought David Reed. David Reed was an American gold medalist, undefeated.
Yeah.
So he went up to that level until he got up to
Bernard Hopkins. So he never won another big fight in his career.
That's not true.
What other big fight did he win?
He had David Reed. That was a big fight.
How was that a big fight?
Because David Reed was a champion. He moved up and went to fight David Reed. That's
kind of like when Crawford unified the titles against that undefeated guy who had never been to the United States.
No.
He was the champ.
Not that. I mean, David Reed was like 14. He was like 16-0 or something like that. But he had a good amateur background. Then he fought Fernando Vargas that was undefeated. David Reed was undefeated. Then he fought William Joppy. William Joppy was undefeated. Then he fought.
None of those people you're naming are big names.
But all those fights were pay-per-view except David Reed.
He ain't win another big fight to me. every big fight he lost after that. And lost badly.
Going up in weight class every time too, wasn't he? Wasn't he going like a little bit higher?
So he went from 147 to 160. Junior middleweight to middleweight, and then he fought Roy Jones at 168, and that was just too much for him.
You mean Bernard Hopkins?
No, Roy Jones. He fought Roy Jones too.
So he fought Hopkins, he fought Vargas, he fought David Reed, De La Hoya, Pernell Whitaker. Dude got big fights all up and down. He lost to Roy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
After 99, it was downhill for him.
Nah. Yeah, okay. Nah, 2001, 9/11.
What I'm saying, he beat De La Hoya in 99. So that's what I'm saying. After that, it was downhill.
Well, see, that's when he got the pound for pound. That's when he got the pound for pound title.
That's when he was the best fighter in boxing.
When he was beating them average champions.
Hey,
Now you're right about that. They were not. David Reed and Fernando Vargas were not as seasoned as he was. They were not, and they were not as strong as he was. Even though he was moving up in weight, what people fail to realize is that he was actually coming down in weight. So he had his strength the higher that he went up. You know what I'm saying? So if he weighed probably 170 and cut all the way down to 147, when he moved up to weight to 154, he was getting closer to his natural strength. You know.
He fought 5 fights he fought 5 twice after Oscar De La Hoya to Bernard Hopkins. His opponents, those 5 fights combined, they had 2 losses.
Yeah.
Who were the 5 opponents?
That was undefeated.
Right. Yeah. 3 average guys.
They were undefeated, man. They were the best at the time.
And then B-Hop.
They up and coming boxers at the time.
Say that again.
Best up and coming boxers.
Yeah, they were all HBO fighters. It's
just like with Tyson. Like Tyson, when you look at the champions, the quality of champions that were there when he came up, Tony Tucker and Bone Crusher Smith, Pinklin Thomas, like it was just a bunch of dudes that just happened to have belts.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But hey, I get it. Tito was your guy. I
liked him.
And another thing about that was they were all TKOs. I mean, he was getting people the hell out of there. He wasn't decisions, he wasn't swerving, he was getting them cats out of there.
He showed David Reed mercy, and David Reed was never the same.
That droopy eye, I remember that.
Yeah, he was never the same. He showed him mercy. He could have easily knocked him out. He showed him mercy.
I never looked at him as being the best boxer. I think he, like Squeak said, you know, he had that devastating left hook, and you know he could finish you. But if you got somebody in there that could box, he was in trouble.
They knew how to, like real fighters knew how to take his left hook from him. And Oscar is the one that showed how to do it. He just ran out of gas by moving so much, and Oscar didn't put no damage on him. You know what I'm saying? He touched him but when it was time to fight the championship rounds, he was steady moving and running.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Oscar was the most overrated pound for pound dude there ever was.
Nah, Oscar is naturally a southpaw. So when he hit you with his left hand, which is his jab, you're gonna feel it, whether it's a jab or a left hook. So, and he threw it from his hip. So yeah, he got power. Oscar De La Hoya got power. So get back to what you were saying, Jared, about me hating Terrence Crawford. I like Terrence Crawford, man. I just don't like the hype. I like Terrence Crawford. I'm a boxing fan. You just can't sell me that this dude is the best though when he ain't fought nobody. That's all. Okay. That's my only point. My only point.
Let me go back to what you said about Tank's card being better, performing better than that BOK Prime card. If we have to believe what they say, we don't know the facts, the numbers. But Crawford said he made. They had some stars at that fight, and their crowd was hype. It was a good fight card to me for a first pay-per-view. You know, I liked it. I wish I would have went. I was 3.5 hours away from going. I probably should have just kept going to the fight, driving on up to the fight. But Crawford said he made $10 million. That was a tune-up fight. And at home, he didn't have to do much press for it. Didn't really have to work to promote it. He made $10 million. If Tank sells 500,000 pay-per-views, and I'm getting this number from sportspayout.com.
Okay.
If he sells 500,000 pay-per-views, which that fight didn't sell, they're saying that Cruz fight you mentioned sold about 200,000. But if he sold 500,000 pay-per-views for this fight, he made 5.5 million.
Okay.
So, yeah, Tank's card may have looked better, but Crawford made 10 staying at home fighting a tune-up fight. So now what do you have to say about that?
So first of all, he ain't made no $10 million. That's that's a bunch of BS. How we know that? We know that from the ticket prices. Anybody that's gonna give you $10 million is gonna charge you at least about $300 to $500 to recoup their money back. Them prices, them tickets were sold on Groupon, so that's one. Okay, so
hold on, no, stop right there. Let's go one by one because you started already.
Go ahead.
He didn't sell tickets on Groupon. That was a Vivid Seats selling tickets. Those tickets were selling for $300, $400, $500, and they sold out that arena.
Oh, why do you keep bringing up his purse amount? What does that do for you?
You said that. You said his event had stars. They didn't bring no stars out and at the Crawford fight. You said that. I didn't say it.
Okay. So yeah, I don't remember seeing no stars at the fight. I don't remember seeing no Meek Mills at the fight, no rappers. I don't remember seeing any of that. And if they were there, good for them. Good for them if they were there. I don't believe he sold no 10. I don't believe that promotional company gave him no $10 million. And I don't care if they did, me personally. I don't care if they did that. The reason that's thrown out there, I don't know. I guess it's a good way that he ducked Earl Spence. I don't know, but yeah.
Is Broner getting $3 million per fight?
I don't know. I don't know what the money has anything to do. I'm a fight fan, so I don't be checking their pockets. I don't know about that. I don't know, Jay.
They couldn't make he couldn't make $10 million on that fight, Jay. Like the numbers don't even add up, right?
They don't have to add up. If you look behind who owns the company, it's a technology company, a streaming company, and they're trying to get it off the ground. And if it's a Silicon Valley company, they have some money invested behind them to throw some money out. So when you start these promotions, you have to spend money. You have to make a big splash. Like who could have got Terrence Crawford their first pay-per-view besides somebody with some money?
A sucker. Any sucker. Because you didn't have any top promotional companies making him an offer. You didn't have Golden Boy making him no offer. You didn't have DAZN trying to make him no offer. And when PBC tried to make him an offer, he didn't take that offer. So
you don't believe the $25 million offer he said he had?
Nah. I don't believe that.
You don't believe anything this man says?
Nah. Because this is the first time he started talking about his personal business. Like, only to say that the fight didn't go through. That's, to me, I just feel like that's a safe face type of tactic. I still think he was ducking him. Nah, I don't think you negotiate no 6 months and be crying about how they didn't offer you no guarantee, but you was negotiating 6 months. That's hard for me to believe.
But Hughes, you gotta agree. If he got $10 million for a tuna fight, and you said, "Oh boy, fought a decent fighter and got half of that," he was the better businessman.
If I'm taking his word, yeah, that's a great business move. If I'm taking his word, but when I looked at the card, yeah, it's like he the only one that won. Nope, the opponent didn't make 1.5 million or nothing like that. He the only one that made something. It wasn't no good professional card, Me personally, I didn't think it was a good professional boxing card compared to PBC, but I don't think that's the argument. But nah.
Okay. Back to you, Ant.
Okay.
I didn't try to start. You started it this time.
Just let it slide.
No, I'm not letting it slide.
All right, that's good enough for that. On to the next topic. Enough of
that boxing should be draining you guys.
Y'all be making people phone die with all this boxing talk over and over again. Like,
be hating on my boy Crawford, the underdog.
Yeah, Jay be trying to cheat. He used his computer to look up. Man, I'm coming straight from the dump with this shit. Come on.
I'm just starting to get more into boxing. I keep seeing Errol Spence looking sad all over the internet because he has to fight Thurman at 154.
All right, on to the next topic. Slang words that we hate. Slang words you don't like or you hate. I'm gonna start off with two. Say again.
Let me kick this one off since I brought this one up. So it'll give people time to kind of get that thing together. But one I hate is I never like my bad. I don't even know I know what it means, but why come you just can't say I'm sorry? Why my bad? And another one is sus. That's sus. So those are two that we could probably get rid of, in my opinion. Sus for suspect or suspicious, and my bad.
My bad just come out naturally. It's just an easy way of saying it. My bad, dog.
I know.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Like me saying I don't want to sit here saying I'm sorry for everything I do wrong. My bad.
It just don't seem like you really mean my bad or I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? My bad. Like fuck you. I did it, but fuck you.
I got you.
But I got you.
One slang word, I don't even know. Like this new stuff, man. I don't even know what these kids saying, man. Like that whole time, this pushing P. I ain't. When people when I would hear, you know, the young people's like that's P or that ain't P. I ain't know what the hell they was talking about, man. So I'm too old for that, man.
My word that I don't like, and I don't understand is no cap. Who came up with no cap? That is, it don't make sense to me. No cap. You capping. I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I don't like that. It don't make sense to me. I don't even know how they make it make sense.
Yeah.
Y'all know?
I have no idea where it came from.
Rodney. Which one you got, Rodney?
Merch. I
Merch.
hate it. Yeah, I hate that. When people say I got the, make sure you hit my website up and get all the merch you want. I'm like, just say merchandise, motherfucker. You know, like I hate when people say merch, man. I hate that. I think that's pretty much my biggest one. Like, I don't try to keep up with with these young folks and the slang. I tell you, I know when I knew I knew the moment when I felt like I'm getting old, and that's when motherfuckers started saying fleek. I knew it was over for me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
When motherfuckers just came up with a swerp word and said fleek, like damn, I knew it was a wrap. Honorable mention Gucci. I think I hate that one too.
Yeah, I hate that one too.
I hate that one too. That Gucci drive me crazy. Phil, what you got?
Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me, St. Louis. Don't get mad at me. I never did like that word dirty. I couldn't identify with it. That word was Swerp to me. I'm so sorry. I didn't like it. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. I never put it in my vocabulary. You know,
I never really knew anybody that said it.
Me either.
What's up, Dirty?
I would hear it, just through song. Yeah, it was never in my vocabulary, but yeah, that was one word that kind of, I heard it in the barbershop before. I take that back. I heard it in the barbershop before. So yeah, that was my one word.
Okay. All the words Swerp, really. They need to just do better.
I like my bad though. I'm sorry, Jay.
Yeah, my bad.
I get it.
My
I
bad.
get it. My bad.
All right, on to the next topic. This has I guess a second deep thought. What is the most important thing you've done in your life and why? Right, you're on to start us off.
The most important thing. I'm gonna cheat. I think I'm gonna have to remix this one because, to me, I think the easy answer for me, most important thing, I think, is raising three competent children. That's one of the important things in life to me is not fucking their life up to where they've been able to grow up and go on to college and prosper. So that would be my answer for that question. But so I'm gonna remix it and go for one of the things that I'm most proud of that I've done in my life. and that would be, buying a rental property. Like when I grew up, it never was impressed upon me about being, having a business or doing anything like that, getting rental properties. That just wasn't the conversations that I was around growing up. So I never had that mindset when I got older. But linking up with someone who did have that type of idea, that type of vision, and being able to sit down and plan it and map it out and actually accomplish that. That's one of the things I'm most proud of that I've accomplished in my life.
Okay. I like the way you revamped the question. We're gonna take that on. Jared, what is the thing you most proud of or most important thing in your life?
Let me try to not make this too sappy. I'll remix it a little bit too, if I can piggyback off what Ronnie just said. This is something I think about all the time, and I just feel good that I did it, and I don't even know really why I did it. It just hit me one day to do it, and I'm glad I did it. I was really close to my grandfather. I'll try to condense the story. Really close to my grandfather. I spent a lot of time with him. He showed me a lot. I didn't even know he was showing me stuff when he was showing it to me. Sometimes it just seemed like he was just being a dickhead and something like making me help him do stuff. And then some of the times we were just chilling together, just watching movies, just hanging out. But anyway, he got a little older and it just hit me one day and I realized what he was doing, all the lessons he was giving me throughout the years, just pulling me to the side, giving me game, just helping me grow up. And I got a chance to, something just came over me. I got a chance to go talk to him and just tell him how much I appreciated him. And growing up, we didn't say get a lot of hugs and I love yous, but I really loved him, and I just let him know that before he passed, how I felt about him, and that's just something I think about all the time. And I'm just so happy that I did get a chance to let him know how much he meant to me. So that's something that sticks in my mind that I'm really proud of. If not, we all are proud of having our kids and stuff like that, but that one particular thing is something that sticks with me all the time.
Say it. What you got?
I think I'm right in line with what everybody, what I wrote down was the most important thing to me was being a great dad to my kids. That's probably the most important thing, because I didn't have I had a father, but the father wasn't in my life. And I know you guys know part of my story. But he wasn't in my life. Like, he was there, but he wasn't in my life. So my key and my most important thing was to be in my kids' life, to know me, to know I love them, to know they can call me and whatever. So kids was the most important thing in my life. What I'm most proud of, since we're remixing it, is, at one point in my life, I was 380 pounds. And I lost, you have, with me, you have ups and downs, but I did get a lot of weight off in my life, and I didn't think I could, I really did. So that's probably my most proudest moment, getting all that weight off me and can live a more productive, a more healthy life. Even though I'm up and down and I'm higher than what I want to be right now, I've never been approached that where I was. So.
Dude.
I'm gonna remix it as well. Besides the kids, the wife, and working with my wife on paying off debt, one of my goals as a teenager was to graduate from college. But when I graduated from high school, and I went off to college, it probably was one of the worst times of my life. I needed a break, and instead of taking a break, I was blessed to get a scholarship. And I wasn't there mentally. So when I first went off to school, I struggled. I flunked out. I wasn't there mentally. And in college became like a chore for me. I didn't learn how to study. Things that used to come natural to me was not coming natural on that level and stuff like that. So now you fast forward to where I'm a father, I'm working full time, and I stopped going to school. But I know having a job, kind of forced me to get back and, You know, when things were easy for me, I didn't have the effort to become a good student. But when things were harder for me, I was forced to buckle down. I was forced to set a goal, come up with a plan, and execute. And my most thing that I'm accomplished of is during that difficult time, biting down, becoming a good student, graduating from college, graduating from a 4-year university, being the first in my household to graduate. You know, carry on my father's name, making my mother proud. You know what I'm saying? Representing for my daughter, giving her something to be able to achieve and let her know. You know, she was one of the first people at my graduation ceremony that hugged me when I came around the corner with my cap and gown. So although I was kind of embarrassed the length of time that it actually took me to walk across the stage, it felt that much better that how old she was to see me and to be able to hug me and tell me that she was proud of me. So that's probably one of my moments of my life where I was just really excited and just like, damn, I really put this shit together. You know what I'm saying? So you graduating from college was one of my finest moments.
Gotcha. That's good there. For me, moment I'm probably most proud of is to be able to give back to some of the most important, I'm sorry, is to be able to go down to Woles, Matthew Dickey, and get some of those kids that I see that don't have two parents, have one parent not on things, needing rides, trying to, be there for them, picking them up, getting them some shoes or something, things like that, like giving back to the little kids in the community where I grew up, where my son played, to try to help some of them kids have a better situation. Know that they just ain't out here all by themselves. So like I feel like my son got me in that environment, but me being with the kids, giving them my number, they call me. If they need something, go get them something, some shoes, uniform, whatever, If they needed something, I would buy it for them because I was able to. I think that was big for me. I mean, I was like, an important thing to give back to the youth where we grew up at, where we all played ball and learned things. As far as the remix, what I'm probably most proud of, at one point in my life, I was $40,000 in debt. And didn't know how. I didn't have no money. Didn't know how I was gonna make no money. I was in jail for whatever, and to be able to come back from that and get out of that and get back to the green side, I think that's probably what I'm most proud of for myself, because that was a long time having to stay disciplined and I can't go out with my friends and all that. I had to try to figure out how to get that money, recouped and get back to even. So that's kind of like what I'm proud of. 40,000 in debt. It was crazy.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Okay. Hey, that was heartfelt, emotional. I don't know if we potted deep or not, but shoot, I feel like everybody got a little deep on that.
Yeah,
I deep.
All right. Moving on to the next subject. Lovie Smith got canned I think he got canned the night of, right after the game. They may have fired him. I'm not sure. But I know he was the first one I guess he was the first one to go. One of the only black coaches. I mean, how many black coaches left in the NFL? Like 2 or 3?
One, and I think the other not Detroit. Carolina is the interim.
Interim. So
two.
it was 2 main coaches. One left now, and one is the interim, and they not even trying to hire him. They still looking, which is crazy. Lovie Smith, in my opinion, if you don't know the situation, he the coach of the Houston Texans. They probably got the worst roster in the NFL. down the stretch, as far as we're concerned, they playing better. They competed all the way through the season with the worst roster in the NFL. And I think he was just a lame duck hired and a lame duck fired. They just used him to try to get a good record. I mean, a good draft pick to turn their team around. Should we be upset about how they're doing our black coaches and not really giving them a job to really have a chance to succeed? I'm gonna start off with you. Should we be upset at this?
So you asking, should we be upset with the Texans or should we be upset with the NFL? Or are you asking both?
Both. Texans and the NFL. Like,
yeah, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. I don't think any black coach that's in need of a job needs to apply for the Texans job. And that's me personally. That's my personal opinion. When it comes to the NFL, yes, there's a bigger problem with the owners not hiring black coaches and black GMs. You know, yeah, Detroit has one, but we need more. We need more black coaches. We need more black GMs, and shit, we need a black owner. You know what I'm saying? So, should other blacks be mad at the Texans organization? Yeah, you could be mad, but at the end of the day, this is how they want to run their company. You know what I'm saying? I didn't honestly think Lovie was going to do a good job in the first place, coming from where he came from, and they're hiring. You know, now that they're firing him, you can see what they were really trying to do. You know what I'm saying? It's clear now what they were really trying to do. They wanted that draft pick. I'm glad he stuck it to him like that in that last game and went for the extra 2 points so they could win the game. You know, it might have cost some people in the pool that had the other team winning, but you know, that's literally what pissed them off and was like, nah, you got to get fired today. But I think at that point he kind of knew the writing was on the wall, and that's why he did that. You know, like I said, sometimes you put in a situation. They offer you probably more money than you ever had. It's an opportunity to get back into the league, something you've been dreaming about. It's a setup job. You know what I'm saying? So do you use your integrity and you could just try to make the most of the young men that you're up there coaching against, you know what I'm saying? Or coach that's on your roster, you know? So it's hard to say, do we as a people, do we ride against them? You know, we could have our feelings. We're entitled to our opinion, but at the end of the day, a protest, I don't think would be warranted. You know, we have to figure out a way to try to, you know, get at these owners, you know. So that's my answer to this year.
Jared, what you got?
Sorry. It's their organization. I don't have a problem with it. I don't like how it looks. It seems like they were mad at him for winning that last game, like they wanted him to lose. So the timing is not the best. They could have waited. What's the rush? I think it sends a bad message to the league. Basically, you need to lose these games if the season is bad to get that draft pick. I think you should always be trying to win no matter what. But business-wise, it may make sense to go ahead and lose that game and get that draft pick so you can either, you know, get that first round or trade that first round draft pick. I just don't like the optics of it. But I don't have a problem with them firing him. He only won 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them firing him. It just looks bad to me. So that's how I feel about it.
Can we stop for 1 second? What did they pick up for Deshaun Watson? Did they get like a first round draft pick and some stuff from Cleveland?
They got draft picks. They didn't get no players. They just got multitude of draft picks.
But didn't Cleveland holding like first round draft picks?
Right.
Or were they trying to get like the number 1 pick?
No, they're gonna keep their pick and then they got additional picks. So in the top 3 rounds, they picking like they got more picks than any other teams.
That's what I
in
thought.
The first 3 or 4 rounds. So they got draft picks for Deshaun.
And so with having Lovie tank the season, they were aiming for the number 1 pick.
Number 1 pick.
They were being greedy then to put it in. Okay.
Rodney, what you got?
Should black people be mad at the Texans? No. I think sometimes we got to take our feelings out of it. I mean, we know there's an imbalance in with the number of black coaches, the hiring practices of black coaches in the NFL. We know there's a disparity, but we also can't be so sensitive to see that somebody just ain't a good coach. They should get fired, regardless if they black or white. Like Lovie, I don't understand how Lovie keep getting jobs. Anyway, but Texans. So I don't see why we should be mad because he got fired. You know, we should definitely be more concerned with just the overall hiring practices. And why is it when a black coach need to be hired is Lovie Smith? Like there are other people out there. So it seems like he's the go-to guy when you need a black coach. So you know, we need to get out of that rat race and inject some of these new guys. Hopefully the 49ers D coordinator, hopefully he gets a chance. I don't know about your boy Byron Leftwich down there in Tampa Bay.
What about the dude?
I don't know about Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City.
I mean, he deserved it if Josh McDaniel got it. Josh McDaniel, his second go around. So, yeah.
I think there seems to be some baggage with Eric Bieniemy.
See, I just jump in with my point. I believe he was hired to be fired. They needed someone that's why Lovie got the job. We need someone that is not going to ruin their career. So that they're not trying to take a young person and do it. And they needed a stopgap. They needed a year to try to get it.
But Ant, the coach they fired only won a couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
They could have kept him if that was the case. David Culley, they could have kept him in that spot.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't no genius.
But the whole thing behind Culley getting fired was they wanted to see if they could get anybody interested in the job. When they found out they couldn't get anybody interested in the job, that's when they turned to Lovie. So they opened the job up for somebody to try to bring in people to hire. Nobody wanted the job. It was a terrible job.
Mm-hmm.
And they turned to Lovie because that's all. You know, Lovie had to take a shot. I understand the question that you're asking, and I just think it was a bad deal for Lovie. I mean, somebody asked you to be the coach, and you've had these opportunities, and this might be your last opportunity. You're gonna take it. So he was a lame duck to start.
Right.
I believe Lovie was just a lame duck to start. He was doomed to fail. The worst roster, like you guys said, worst roster in football.
Right.
So what you gonna do with that? But when you force these owners to hire black, this is what you're gonna end. This is what you get. You can't really. It's so hard because these owners know. I mean, okay, it could be a prejudice system. It could be a tough system. But when you force these owners to do this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get, black people getting fired. You forcing them to hire somebody that they don't want. It's their business. So that's a tough deal. But the NFL has to, when these teams open, like when the Broncos open, when I think there's another team open, you gotta get in some black ownership. That's the only way you're gonna get this thing to start changing. Because I wouldn't like nobody to force me to interview somebody. It's a bunch of BS. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna do these fake interviews, and I'm gonna hire the person I really want to hire. You got prejudice owners. They're gonna keep hiring white people. Only way we're gonna change it is the NFL has to get involved, and they may have to make it mandatory that we need people of color as owners, qualified people of color to be owners. That's the only way it's gonna ever change. We're gonna continue to have these bad teams that can only get these last chance head coaches, and that's the Lovie situation. So good for Lovie. I'm glad he won that last game. Fuck them. So
do you think that could happen though? Because don't the owners have to be the spirit? They have to spearhead that change. Dang. And I don't think they're going to.
No. I agree, but the NFL, I mean, they at some point, I know Goodell works for the owners, right? But at some point, there's got to be the NFL has to put their foot in the door and just say, hey, look, our player pool is majority color people, Black Hispanics. You got to bring some kind of qualified person of color to run to own a football team. But you're right, Rodney. That's the tough thing about it. Somebody got to step forward and get brave about it.
Yeah, when you think about that, it's like we all know what needs to be done, but there's no one in media speaking about this on a consistent basis. We have no control, huh?
It's one person speaking about it.
Are you talking about Stephen A. Smith?
Black folks went crazy when he said, this is the problem that he said he's trying to fix, that there's no Black head coaches, college or pros.
We don't have leverage other than Black players. We don't have a business leverage. You know what I'm saying? We don't have anything to force those owners. We don't have a secondary league where we like, okay, by this date, if you don't hire a minimum of 6 Black coaches, we're taking all our players to this particular league. We don't have any kind of leverage like that with these billionaire businessmen.
We do got leverage, Squeak. Our money. That's the part where we got to stop. We still pour into the NFL, knowing they doing this. We know it, and we still give them all our money. The moment we start taking away our money, that's when things will change.
But you got players, and I don't think so you remove you remove the Black dollars that's going to the NFL. Do you think that hurts the NFL?
It will.
What money are we putting in? I just want to clarify.
So every time we go to games, buy NFL paraphernalia,
merch.
Right. My bad. But or go to these sites, the FanDuel and all of that. That is what's paying the NFL.
What
is it? I thought they get their money from the TV contract.
I mean, all of that's included into it, though. TV contract.
I thought that's what they got the majority of their money from is from that TV contract, and the paraphernalia and the hot dogs and beers ancillary. But I thought the TV deal was the biggest thing.
The only way we're going for them to take notice of our displeasure is we got to hit them somewhere in the pockets. It's going to be a drop in the bucket. It's not going to be nothing substantial, but they need to know that we don't like it, and we got to make them feel it to try to start to make the changes.
Well, I tell you what, if we can have that type of commitment, I think we need to direct them efforts elsewhere. Like if we can come together as a people and pull our dollars out, fuck this NFL and the Black head coaches. We got bigger fish to fry.
I figure that. I follow that.
I hear you.
Well, that's the reason why, I bet from weeks ago, we got to get to Black on all the time. But I'm in Atlanta, so I get it.
I hear what you're saying. I remember when we was, I guess on the low, everybody was feeling somewhere about the Colin Kaepernick, and it didn't go according to plan. We stopped. I tried maybe like 6 games, and I wasn't consistent with that. I haven't bought any NFL paraphernalia. I probably went to 1 game since then, but I don't think they missed my money. I'm saying? They got my viewership,
Right. It'd be hard. Like the TV money, everybody got DirecTV, NFL ticket, all this other stuff. We gonna still watch it because we like it.
Right. And they have our players. They we those are guys we went to school with. We like, what I'm saying, family members and stuff like that. It's like you should know their dreams. So how do we, make an impact without damaging their dreams? You know what I'm saying? that really affects the business, because that's really what we're trying to get to say. You all need to, we need inclusion. We need in, and only way I think of it is create another league, but I don't know who got the money for that.
Yeah, they tried the XFL and all that. Tried that. The Rock. That's what The Rock got. Another league, the XFL. But I get it. That was just I just wish things could be different. But
so was that it for Lovie? Does he ever get another shot?
I don't think he does.
I think it's the HBCU. Man. I think he has to go the HBCU route.
He wasn't. But Lovie is a bad example because he even wasn't a good college coach.
That's
right.
Fact.
He had a losing record in Illinois.
That's a fact.
So
that's why I started off earlier saying, like, how does he keep getting these jobs?
Yeah,
because he really hasn't done anything since that 1 year where he took the Bears to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He got this job, I believe. Like said, the Texans opened up the job. No one would take it. And then at that point, they like, well, shoot, we need a black coach for you. We need a black coach. So the NFL, I think, said, hire the black coach for a season, and then you can fire him. I think he was fired the moment they hired him.
Yeah, but why did they need a black coach?
Nothing he could have did.
Why did they need a black coach?
I think the NFL came to the owner. You didn't get no coaches you wanted. All the coaches gone. You don't have nobody. Hire a black coach, fire him at the end of the year, and you can redo your another coaching search.
But don't you think that looks bad that you just fired back-to-back black coaches? Ain't that a bad look?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it was the Texans' way of saying they wanted to look better than what they actually are. Nobody wanted the job. So nobody wanted that job. Nobody gonna want that job coming up.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the real issue. Like, after you see how they really are, do you test your integrity by trying to take that job? And here's your opportunity. Like, would you want to see Deion Sanders as the head coach of the Houston Texans?
I would, but Deion wouldn't take that job. You know what I'm saying? If you got anything going for yourself, like D'Amico Ryans ain't gonna take that job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The enemy may take that job because it don't seem like nobody want to hire him. But if you're a hot coordinator, black coordinator, you ain't taking that Texan job. You're not.
No.
If you're a hot coordinator, you ain't taking that Texan job. It's gonna be somebody, a retread, or a coach that's had on her last leg that that's really only unless they get like the number one pick and they do some stuff. But right now it's a lame duck job.
Right, and then you don't even have no black coaches in college. For them to even pull, like, what's a hot coach in college? No black coach in college I could think of. They could take their Texans job.
Oh, right, because our boy from Notre Dame, that was a while ago too.
So,
but really, the pipeline to a job ain't really college. It's an offensive coordinator,
right, or defensive coordinator,
and that's where you don't have black coaches. You got it's tons of black coaches on a football team, position coaches, D-line and all that.
Right,
but when they get to coordinator, black coaches are funneled to defense, like they're defensive coordinators.
Eric might be the only offensive, right?
Huh?
Isn't Eric like the only black offensive?
Ain't Leftwich an OC?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, but they Swerp because
Eric,
how you're the offensive coordinator, but you ain't really calling the plays.
Yeah, because I didn't know what he was like. I thought he was like a.
I mean, that goes for Bieniemy as well. Like,
Andy
Reid called the
plays.
So
that's why he ain't got a job,
huh?
And that's why he ain't got a job.
But other people do that. Like what the coach that the Bears fired, he was under Andy Reid, basically in the same position as Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't call plays, but he got that Bears job.
Mm-hmm.
So, there is a precedent for, getting that job without calling plays. I think there are other things with Eric Bieniemy, like personality thing. He got, even though this bullshit, he got into some trouble back when he was in Colorado, and I think some of that shit's still hanging over his head.
Because he's been on several interviews and just never closed the deal, right?
Either he interviewing bad, or like they say, he got some kind of pass that these owners just can't get over.
Nah.
Which wouldn't be out of whack, because we see it with Mark Jackson. The motherfucking owners, they're not getting over, what happened with him in Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Who you say?
Mark Jackson.
Oh, I thought you said. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know why I heard Lamar Jackson.
I thought he said Lamar too for a second.
Yeah, I was like, Golden State. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a fact. But has he been on any interviews since then, Mark Jackson? Has he even?
Did he interview for the
New York
for the Knicks job at the last time?
I think he might even interview for the Laker job too. I think. I'm not 100%, but he's been on some interviews. I don't know why they don't. Yeah, he's been on some interviews.
Yeah, he did something to somebody real high up to where these owners is like, don't. They they got a pack too, and they like, don't do it, don't hire him. They blackballed him, so that's messed up. All right, fellas, we on to the Swerp of the week. Who wants to start us off with the Swerp of the week?
I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep it with the Houston Texans.
Houston Texans.
Yeah.
They the Swerp of the week for what?
They the Swerp of the week
for winning or for firing oh boy.
Yeah, for winning or for firing Lovie?
Oh nah. They the Swerp for firing Lovie. I don't care. I picked them to win anyway. I was going for upset, so yeah, I picked them to win. So yeah.
All right, Rodney, who you got?
LeBron James.
Ooh,
he's my
favorite. What did he do?
I just get tired every year. All the conversations about who they need to go out and get. What players does whatever team he's on. They got to go out and put some shooters around him, or they got to do this, and he saying passive aggressive stuff in the media. I just get tired of that whole circus every year when it comes to getting him help. It's just like I just get tired of it. Like no other, it's unprecedented with a great player to where every year you're talking about we got to get him help. You don't hear that with hardly any other great player, but with him every year, who they gonna get? You got to get a shooter. You got to fuck them picks. You got to trade them picks and get LeBron this and get LeBron that. So, but for all that, LeBron James is my Swerp of the week.
Jared, who you got? Swerp of the week.
And I have a lot of people I can choose from. I even have one that'll probably make everybody on here sick. I'm not going to say that one. I'm going to keep it light. Elder Barge, you're my Swerp of the week. You're still smoking crack. Stop smoking crack, allegedly, and clean your life up. Elder Barge.
Oh, wow.
Swerp of the week.
Hey.
Who your honorable mention?
You guys really want to hear this?
Yeah.
I mean, you gave Gangsta Boo the Swerp of the week last week.
Let me clean it up.
Swerp of the week, so I don't think it can get much worse than that.
You got to go back and listen to the episode. She's not Swerp of the week. I'm just saying, stop with the fentanyl.
You said Gangsta Boo gets my Swerp of the week. I don't know how else to take it.
I gave a little warning before I said that.
Right.
It's kind of like my bad, Jared.
Not the same. It's just sad when people keep going out, with the fentanyl. Man, speaking of fentanyl, I have another 2 Swerps of the week, real quick. The rapper Big Scar, his family was beefing with Gucci Mane.
Oh yeah.
And for the funeral. They said Gucci man promised to pay for the funeral. He stopped returning their calls, and later on, his wife, Gucci Mane's wife or man's wife, posted receipts showing that $20,000 was sent to take care of the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And the family said the funeral. The dad eventually came out and said the funeral cost $60,000, and he paid for the rest of it himself. But it goes even deeper. It comes out now that the brother of the young rapper that passed away, which I believe he died from a pill overdose, which is fentanyl again. The brother of the rapper that passed away allegedly shot a music video at the funeral. So all of that is, could be their own Swerp of the week. But I'm going to turn your stomach with this one. And this is allegedly Melvin O'Neal, candidate for Swerp of the Year. His mom was on Facebook defending him for a rape he got accused of. Melvin O'Neal allegedly goes to see his mom, talking with his mom, laughing and joking with his mom. I'm not even going to say his mom's name. This fool beat his mom up and raped his mom.
Oh.
Pictures of her beat up in the hospital. He is the Swerp candidate of the year. He's my Swerp of the week right now, though.
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sid, Swerp of the week. Who you got?
All right. My Swerp of the week is Coach Sean McVay. Man, he fed up already. He give us a hot 5, hot 6, and he gone. How can you, man? How can you be a coach? A coach, man. How can you be a coach and you get burnt out in 6 years? A coach. You know
a coach that maybe never wanted it.
No, how you mean you never wanted it? That means you shouldn't have never been a coach if you get burnt out in 6 years. And then it's so crazy. Anytime that a coach is at anytime this is a red flag. Anytime you at a press conference and they ask you, "Are you coming back?" and it ain't a hell yeah, I'm coming back. It's I don't know. I got to think about it. You swerve. You gone. You might as well. I don't even want you to coach me. If you think about that. If your coach is thinking about coming back and he ain't been doing it for 30, 40 years, and he like, I gotta think about it. You don't want that cat.
He won the chip. He did what he came to do. He won the chip. He looking at the roster. Aaron Donald about to retire. He looking at them cats like, man, if I come back, I'm about to be the next Lovie Smith. I might as well go on and leave now and then come back in a year or two and I can pick my spot.
That's Swerve. Why would you? That's Swerve. You quitting on. You basically quitting on the team. That's what you're doing, right? If that's your mindset, oh, I'm gonna leave when the going gets rough and reappear somebody else in a better situation. You swerve. So that's my Swerve of the week. Coach, what does Skip call him? Coach McYay? Swerve as my Swerve of the week.
All right, and then my Swerve of the week, everybody in the TCU team, locker room, that whole college, you can't go to the national championship game and quit like they did. You could get beat 49-7, but 65-7, they quit. That whole team need to be Swerve. The coach, everybody on that team, Swerve of the week. You quit in the national championship game.
You think they just weren't outclassed. You say they quit.
65, they quit.
Okay.
Like they stopped playing. Like I understand they should have got beat 42-7. But 65, you quit. They wasn't that.
That's how it be, Ant, when your coach is overwhelmed. when you rely on your coach to give you a play, he don't know what the hell going on. He embarrassed. He overwhelmed. He didn't have to prepare.
If I'm a player though, ain't y'all got some heart? Like, come on, they not about to beat me with the third string and still knock out 65 points.
But what if that third string is better than your first string?
Exactly. Third
I
string.
mean,
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game. Like I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't see TCU quitting. I just saw them. They couldn't do shit with Georgia. It was just two different levels of talent.
And the coach and the TCU coach didn't have a good game plan to get his quarterback into the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is too big of a stage. So come with some screens, some run plays. You can see from his quarterback how he was throwing the ball. It wasn't that he was throwing that ball so short behind folks, at their ankles and stuff like that. You got to calm him down with some screenplays to build up his confidence. You just can't just throw him out there like that. And that's what happened. That defense got burnt out because the offense was going 1, 2, 3, punt, 1, 2, 3, punt, 1, 2, 3, punt. Every time you looked up, the defense was coming on the sideline, getting a drink of water, and had to choke because they had to get back on the field. So when you get in a game like that, you really don't have a chance, Ant.
I ain't saying they had a chance, but what I'm saying is they was not that bad to where some people like, man, we not about to get embarrassed that bad.
So you gonna start getting dirty?
Right.
Sometimes, like, man, like we came too far in a championship game to get blown out like this on TV. Yeah, I'm fighting. Like, we not about to go out like this.
It happens, and some teams beat you just off their reputation until they get their momentum going, and then they score on you, and then they just throw a power drive. It just happens. I think their coach was just as nervous as the players.
Swerp of the week still. The whole organization. Yeah, I quit.
I also like to give Aaron Rodgers Swerp of the week. Every time he lose, it's about retirement.
Yeah.
Every single time he lose. So when they were on the verge of cooking right before they played Detroit, oh man, the Packers they cooking. Soon as they lose this game, and Jameson Williams asked for his jersey, he gonna have to keep this. Man, if you don't get out of here with that, that's my honorable mention Swerp.
Because he didn't get your little cousin his jersey.
There's a different thought about here. I got you.
At least you caught that part. I was sneaking it underneath, but you caught it.
Gotcha. Well, that does it for episode number 28. Don't forget, like, share, comment to the podcast if you like what you're saying. And we'll be back next week. See you.
Peace.
Later.